Welcome. This is congratulations. First, I do want to say congratulations on your nomination and being invited to participate in the 2021 Northern New England Invention Convention. So
Thank you.
we are so excited. I know you've done some good work. I've seen some of your projects. I've heard about them from some of your teachers. So congratulations. And you have been invited along with other students who participated in the Young Inventors Program across New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts to participate in our regional invention convention, where we bring all of our inventors, our bright and top inventors, to come together for a competition, again, to showcase and for you to have the opportunity to present your unique and creative invention ideas. My name is Tina White, and I am the director of the Northern New England Young Inventors Program. And again, I'm just so thrilled to have all of you here. So today, we are just going to walk through the requirements and some of the things that you will need to participate. But I want to go through the requirements for participation in the Invention Convention, the things that you'll need to submit with your project. So again, just to be clear, this year's Invention Convention will be all virtual. There will be no in-person event. So we'll be collecting all of your invention materials. You'll be uploading them to us so that our judges can look at them and view them and evaluate them. And that'll take a couple of weeks for all of that to come together in April. And then we'll all come back together on May 2nd for a really great celebration of your achievements and recognition of all of your accomplishments, and also to announce the awards. So today is really a lot about you and making sure that we're able to answer any questions that you might have. So Sarah and I are going to kind of go over a couple of steps in the registration process that were sent in your email invitation that you should have received, I think on Sunday afternoon and yesterday. And then we'll go over some of the requirements and kind of all of the details. But if you have questions, this is also your opportunity to ask so that you can be best prepared as you're submitting your materials to us. So first, the registration email. So this is your invitation that, again, we sent through an email on Sunday. So you probably got that email, or else you wouldn't have known about today's session with us. So I feel pretty good about that. But in the registration email, there is a link to the online registration form. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you register and say, yes, I want to participate in the Invention Convention this year. And so you, along with a parent or guardian, can go in, click on this link to the registration form, and then you'll need to set up a username and an account. And you can use your parent or guardian email if you need to do that. That is fine. And then once you create that username and password, you'll go into the registration form, which will just ask you a few questions about who you are and some basic information about your invention. And that will just help us stay organized. Also in that email was a media release. So just like Sarah said, that today's webinar is going to be recorded. For those that couldn't make it today, they'll be able to go back and look and listen. And so will you. If you want to go back and hear something again, or if you're not sure, you can always revisit this recording. But we do need a media release from you that allows us to share your video and your materials with our judges and with other folks. So make sure that you complete that media release form, and you'll need an adult, a parent or guardian also to sign that, and that will be uploaded with your materials. And then we also have a checklist. Sarah is great, and she is a wonderful list keeper to help keep her organized, and she keeps me organized too. And so she created a really cool checklist that will just help you make sure that you've done all the right requirements and you've done everything you need to do. So when you're finished, you know you've got it all done and you are complete. Are there any questions about the email? So if you read it, or maybe your parent or guardian read the email, are there any questions about that?
What about scholarships, Tina?
Scholarships. So that, yes, so there is a fee, a registration fee that helps us just cover some of the costs that that we have to present the event and to have the Invention Convention. And we don't want this to keep anyone from inventing and from participating this year. So if you need financial assistance or a scholarship, there is a way on the registration form that you can indicate that. You'll just click on the button that says pay by check. And then you need to email me immediately. And my email's in the registration invitation. You can email me, and then you can ask, and we can talk through, and we can take care of that for you. But we do have some financial assistance available. We don't want our small fee to keep you from inventing. Okay, so I think that that's a good one. Also, some of you, if you participate through your school, we do have a few schools that are able to pay the registration fee on behalf of the students or their inventors. So you can check with your teacher, and if your school is paying your registration fee for you, then again, you will get a special code that you will enter when you register that lets us know that the school will be sending your fee and it won't be coming from you. And if you have any questions or if you're confused, you can always email me or call me so that we can talk through it, and I can make sure that you're able to finish the registration process. And so if you are uncomfortable asking a question on the call, you can also write in the chat. So you can click on the chat at the bottom of the screen, and you can type in your question, and Sarah will be helping me, and I'll be reading the chat, so we'll hopefully get those questions too. So that's another way you can ask questions if you don't want to speak, or if you don't have access to a microphone on your computer.
We have a question.
Question, yes.
So we registered the other day, and we got an email indicating that we completed registration, and that email indicated that we should get a Google Drive link to in which we should upload materials, and we have not received that Google Drive link.
Yep, all of those are all the Google Drive links are custom. So what we're doing tonight is building all of those folders for everybody. So you'll get another email from me tonight with your Google Drive link.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. And let us know if maybe by the end of tomorrow, you don't have that link. But we are building those custom as people register. So, so give us just a little bit of time, but then if you don't receive it, let us know for sure. Great. So the competition requirements. So just like we spoke about, you will get a link to a Google Drive folder that is just for you. Or if you're part of a team, it'll be part of your team where you will put all of your materials. And these are the things that you're going to want to upload. These are the requirements to participate in the Invention Convention this year. And we'll go into these in detail as to what you need to do for each of these components. So you'll need a video. This is a video, again, we'll go into the details, but a video that you can do at home, and it must be unedited and no production elements to it. So you can use your phone. You could set up your own Zoom meeting and record it and send that as your video, but it needs to be one continuous take of you presenting your invention. So just as if you were presenting in front of us or a judge at an in-person event, the video should be just the same way. So you shouldn't stop and restart, or we're not looking for kind of really wow factor things added to your video. We really just want it to be you talking about your invention. Then you have the opportunity to add some photos and scan some documents. So if there are any photos that you took in your inventing process or of your invention model, or anything that you think will help will help explain your invention. You can upload those photos. And then we're also going to ask you to scan a few things from your Inventors Journal. Just as if you had your Inventors Journal in an in-person event to show to us. We'll ask for pieces of your Inventors Journal and also your display board. So those are competition requirements. The registration, which we just talked about, and you have the link to register online. And then the media release form, which we also just talked about. So I see that there was a question about what do you mean by upload materials? So when you get your Google Drive link to your folder, you can click on it and then you'll see that there's a place where you can upload materials. So that means basically you're going to share your video or your photos if you're able to scan them or take a picture of them, and you can send them to your folder. So they get kind of put in the folder, kind of in a virtual way, like sliding them into like a hard paper folder. We'll be able to have all your materials in one place. And if you need help with scanning or how to take a picture and upload it or email it to yourself so that you can upload it to your Google Drive, please give one of us a call and we'd be more than happy to help you. Sarah's really great with those things, but I can help you as well.
Yep, this is our second year doing the virtual competition, and we did have some folks who had some issues getting videos off your phone. So please don't struggle with it. Just contact us, and we're here to help you. So if anything is a question, just send us an email, and we'll be able to help you out.
Great, good question. All right, so
there were questions about inventor journals. Tina, could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I'm going to grab an inventor's journal right here. So we do want to see part of your work in the documentation process that you did while you were inventing. And so you might have kept one of our inventor's journals, but you might have kept a different inventor journal, or you might have just used a notebook or just some paper that you all kept, that you kept together. That's fine. It doesn't have to be this exact book that you wrote your notes in or kind of took notes as you went along. You might have also we had a digital version too, where you could fill this out online and just type in, kind of your ideas and the steps of your process and the things that you were doing. That is fine too. You can just, if that's already in the computer, you can send us the file. But we do want to see parts of your inventor's journal. And there's some specific parts that we want to see when you submit. So you do not have to take a copy and scan every single page in your inventor's journal. That would be like 25 pages, and we don't need that. But we do need a few pages. So here are the required pages that we'd like you to submit. And then we also have some recommended pages that might be really helpful for our judges. So first, the title page. And I think that is really the opening page of our book right here. Okay, let me see. There we go. But really, it just asks for basic information. Your name, we need to know who you are, your grade, where you go to school, or if you participated with an organization, and then also the name of your teacher. Okay, so those are things that we need to have on your title page. If you want to put your invention name on there too, that's really helpful, but we know we didn't include that on our own page, so it's okay if they're not on your title page. And then we do also require that we see some sort of labeled design or sketch or drawing of your invention. So we have some pages here in the book, in the journal, where you could have done that right here. But again, if you used other paper, that's fine, but we should have some drawing of what you did with labeled parts and pieces to it to help the judges and to help us understand your thought process and how you were building and creating your idea and making it come to life. Now, other pages that we really recommend that also is very helpful to our judges and to us from our journal are the statement of originality that just kind of says, yes, this is my own work and I didn't copy it from somebody else. And also the intent to invent page, which is kind of your plan. Like this was my plan. This is my commitment to make my invention. This is how I'm going to do it. This is the problem that it solves. And these are the steps that I will take. And then finally, we also encourage you, if you needed certain materials for your invention, whether you had to buy them or kind of find them around the house. But if you have a list of kind of the pieces and the parts that go into your invention, it's a good idea to submit your materials list too. Okay, and I think right now we're sharing on the screen some of those things directly from our journal, which you can find on our website, which is www.fuelthespark.org. You can find our Inventors Journal and you can reprint some of these pages, or you can use a journal that maybe you got from your teacher at school. Or again, you can just use any notebook or logbook of your choice. Are there questions about the Inventors Journals?
We've got some questions in the chat. I can't see the screen. Oh, some folks were having trouble with the screen. And someone asked about where the journal is. And I will, if anybody wants the direct link to the journal, just drop your email in the chat for me. Just send it directly to me, not to everybody. And I will email that to you.
And again, what you can do is either you can scan or take a photocopy of these pages and then scan them and upload them, or take pictures of them with a phone, and you can upload them into your Google Drive folder. Again, you do not have to do the entire journal, but just the parts that you think are most important about explaining your invention idea and how you created your prototype or model, if you made a model. You know, and kind of the steps that you would take and the materials that you would use. Those are all really important pieces to share.
Yeah. And you can scan these pages, or if you don't have access to a scanner, you can take photos, but please label the photos, like say it's Tina's intent to invent page, Tina's invention materials page, so that the judges will be able to easily see which photos are which.
Great. Good point, Sarah. Thank you. Great. So let's go on to talk a little bit about the videos. So the video, again, is it can be up to 6 minutes long, but it does not have to be 6 minutes. If your video is less than 6 minutes, that is okay. But judges will not watch beyond 6 minutes, even if you're still talking. Okay, so you need to keep it under that time limit. The video really should be you with your invention, talking about your invention. Again, it should be uninterrupted, all continuous in one take. So if you start and maybe you kind of mess up a little bit, delete that video and start over again. But you can't start a video, stop, move somewhere else, or do something and then restart the video. It all needs to be kind of one long take. That can be you can take it with your phone, another type of video camera, or again, we've had inventors record themselves in like a meeting, like a Zoom meeting, and then send us the recording video.
Right. One thing about the Zoom meetings, though, is that we don't want to see what we have here right now, right? We don't want to see a tiny picture of you and a big picture of a slide and having you read from the slides. We'd like to see you in the full screen with your invention.
Right. And it's like presenting as if you were at the event. We're trying to make this seem like we're all together in person, even though we can't be. So slides are not allowed, and showing lots of photos are not allowed unless you're holding them up, or maybe you're standing in front of your display board, which is a really great technique because that allows the judges to see your display, which is another requirement. And then also, you know, like this, you could stand right in front of the Aqua Aid. These are two of our students from last year. And so they gave their video kind of standing in front of their display board. They pointed things out as they spoke, and they talked about their invention. So that's a great way to do it.
Talk
So
about length, or the age requirements
yeah, so
on the website.
So we talked about the length, right? That it can't be more than 6 minutes, but it's certainly okay to be under 6 minutes in length. But also, depending on your grade level, there are a few changes in kind of what is allowed. So if you are in, and Sarah, can you go to, it is on our website, but Sarah, can you go to the website just so everyone can see it as well?
Yep, just keep talking and I'll get there.
Okay, so if you are in kindergarten, first or second grade, all right, you may use note cards in your video to kind of help remind you of what you want to say. And you may also maybe have an adult who prompts you a little bit if you get stuck in where you are. Now, the adult can't interview you and ask questions the whole time that you're answering, but the adult can be somewhere kind of behind the scenes. And if you get stuck or need a little help remembering what to say next, they can provide some of that prompting in the background. Okay. And your video can be 3 to 6 minutes in length. Okay. Now, if you're in grade 3 or 4, third or fourth graders, again, a 4 to 6 minute video. You may also use note cards, but no adult or other person prompting you in the background. And then finally, for our oldest students, grades 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, the 4 to 6 minute video length with no note cards or no adult prompting. So it really should be something that perhaps you practice and rehearse, and that you kind of have it in your head as to what you want to say and what you want to do. The other thing is all the videos you must include, this is really important, and you'd be surprised how many of our inventors forget this piece, but we need to know who you are and what you did. So you should really start that video with an introduction. With your name or the names of your teammates. If you're doing this as a project with another teammate, your grades, school, city, state, and definitely the name of your invention. And also, if you are working with a team, we understand that particularly in these times that maybe you're not able to get together to do a team project. So you saw in the slide that we showed of the Aqua Aid, we had 2 students standing together. They're siblings. And so they are able to be in the same house and video record themselves, and they were able to do the project together. But if you're working with a teammate who does not live in your household and you're not able to do a video together safely with them, it is okay if just one of you does the video and presents on behalf of the entire team. You just want to make sure that you give your teammate credit. So for example, if I was doing a project with Sarah, and I was the one who did the video because Sarah and I can't get together in person to do a video, I would do the video and do the presentation and record it. And when I did my introduction, I would give my name and my school and my grade, and then I would say, and I worked with my teammate, and I would give Sarah's name and grade and school as well, and then the invention name, and then I would go into talking about what we did. And if there was any parts that Sarah really kind of did or contributed, I would also just make sure that in the presentation, I would recognize her for her work and say, this is a part that Sarah did. She had the idea to change this, or she had the idea of adding wheels, those sorts of things. So you just want to make sure that you're giving your teammate the credit that they also have in the project.
So I have a question, Tina. If I stop sharing here, can we do a presentation like this with both of us on the Zoom screen?
You could, and we had some students last year who were really creative, and they Zoomed a meeting so they could both be there, and they recorded it. So both of them were actually part of the presentation. And I think they had rehearsed to know who was going to say what part, and it was really great. So there are ways that you can present together safely. But whatever you have access to, whatever is kind of easiest for you and your families, we want to make sure that we're honoring that as well. But your safety and the safety of our community certainly comes first.
Great.
Cool. Great. So we also on our website have some tips for videos, just to help you. I think that we definitely need the videos. If you're using a phone or certain cameras, it needs to be in the horizontal position, not in the vertical position. Those produce better videos. As you're practicing, think about lighting. I know right now I'm in a room with kind of not great light, and there's a lot of kind of white flash behind me, but you want to make sure maybe that you're not standing in front of a window or a really sunny spot, but that also you're maybe not in a really dark room either, where we can't see your face or there's a lot of shadows. So you may want to test out at home where you are when you do your video. Also think about, we see a picture here. So in the example there, that's also not good lighting, right? We can't really see Sarah's face. But also think about, if you can, we understand households can be a little crazy. We all have some pets, maybe siblings, people moving around, but see if you can find a quiet place where you can maybe not be interrupted. But don't worry, if the dog wants to video bomb you, it's okay. You can start over if you want, but don't let that totally derail you.
Especially if your invention is about pets and you
exactly
for the pet. It actually worked out last year that some of our inventors had their dog. They were talking about their dog. The dog heard dog's name and decided to introduce themselves in the video. And that's okay too.
That is okay. But do try to find a quiet place. And maybe make sure that your camera is clean and clear, and your microphone as well. And think of this as just being a presentation, as if you were in person in front of your class, or, here at the Invention Convention talking, and you're going to do great. You are the expert because you're the inventor. This is your idea and no one else's. No one knows more about it than you. And one other kind of recommendation I have is have fun and maybe review your video afterwards. The one nice thing about the videos is you do have a chance to look at your video, play it back, and if there's something you really don't like, you can try again and see if you like a second version better.
Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the tips that we have for what to share in your videos?
Great. So while these are not required, these are things that make really strong videos. Again, make sure that you're really clear in saying the title of the name of your invention and what it does. But we also are really curious with, how did you come up with your idea? Was this a problem that you had, or maybe that you saw somebody close to you had, or something that just really bothers you? So let us know why it's important to you and how you came up with your idea. If you did any research to find out if another invention like yours is out there, or if you look to see if you could already buy a similar product, or if you just needed to do research to learn more about, for example, if your invention has to do with pets and animals, did you need to learn a little bit more about dogs and their behavior? Or did you need to talk to a veterinarian about what might be a healthy solution for a dog? So any research that you might have done as you were coming up with your idea and thinking about how to make your invention is really helpful. If you did any testing, or if you asked people, well, what do you think about this idea? Or could you try this for me and see if you like it too? What do you think? So any tests and the results and conclusions that you have from these tests are great to include too. And remember, we learn a lot, especially in inventing, by failure. So if your test didn't come out so well the first time and you had to make changes, we want to know about that. and it's okay to tell us what went wrong and how you modified, adapted, and made changes to make it more successful. Certainly tell us of any challenges that came up along the way. Maybe you didn't have the right materials. Maybe you had an idea and it totally flopped the first time. Any mistakes you made. Maybe you had to learn how to sew in doing part of your project. You had to learn a new skill and mistakes you made along the way. So let us know how that process was for you. And tell us why your invention is unique. So there's certainly a lot of things that we can buy out there on Amazon and online and at other stores like Target. But your invention is unique. And why is it unique? So if there is something similar out there, you took a product that you know you could do better, let us know how your project is unique and what it does differently to make it an improvement. And then if your invention can help others, how is this going to contribute? How does it solve the problem? And how is it going to help other people? We want to hear your thoughts on that too.
And Tina, before we talk about some more practical tips about presenting, we did have a question about the chain reaction videos, and that chain reaction inventors will submit 2 videos.
That's correct. Sorry, Sarah, I totally forgot about our friends who did chain reaction machines. But yes, going back to the video requirements, if you did a chain reaction machine, we actually require 2 videos. So the first one is your presentation, and it just needs to be a few minutes. Again, just so the things that we've been talking about, what your chain reaction machine does, how it completes a certain task, what that task is, and the types of simple machines and the steps that your chain reaction machine takes to complete the task. So in a 2 to 3 minute video, you are going to explain and present and kind of show your chain reaction machine. The second video is really showing the chain reaction machine working and the machine in action, starting from the very beginning, moving all the way through, again, in a continuous, uninterrupted video, hopefully with a successful outcome of completing the task. But we want to see your chain reaction machine at work from start to finish. So the second video will also be about 3 to 4 minutes. Again, it can be less time if you don't need that time. Following the chain reaction in action, and you can kind of give a commentary about what's going on during the process if you'd like, and you can show how your simple machines all combine to come together to form the contraption. But the second video is kind of showing off how it all works.
Right. And if you don't succeed the first time you're filming, you can film multiple times until you get it to work successfully.
Certainly.
And the person who was asking that question says, thank you. Yay.
Great.
Yes, we don't want to forget our chain.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I got caught up in the rest of the videos that I forgot that piece, but I really appreciate it. And we love our chain reaction machines.
So do we want to talk a little bit about just some general practice tips?
Yeah, definitely. I encourage you to practice a little bit at home. You can practice in front of the mirror is always good, as silly as that sounds. Maybe practice in front of a sibling or a friend or a neighbor or maybe your teacher or another adult at home. Try, and I just did it. I said, but as you're speaking, practice without saying things like, like, well, you know, and they may slip in here and there, but really concentrate on your words and what you're saying to kind of take out some of those little fillers.
And then with body language, people may see I'm shifting my weight. I'm actually standing. So when you're standing, you may move around a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah, but try to stay focused and not a lot of fidgeting. But we know sometimes you need a little bit to kind of keep you calm and relaxed and focused. But we don't want that to kind of be a distraction from watching you do your presentation. So a good trick, especially if you have a model or a prototype, is to kind of hold it up in your hand. Then you've got something there that you're kind of holding on to and maybe squeezing really tight as you're nervous. but you've got something there to kind of keep you from fidgeting, because you know you're holding it for the judges to see. So that's another good tip too, that you can kind of sometimes get away with fidgeting by playing with your invention and showing how it works.
Right. And I actually, there's a question in the chat. What if like is part of your video when you're explaining something? And that's fine.
Yeah.
We're just talking about using like as a filler word, like right? Such as
like, I was like going to the park.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's fine. You can also, Tina had mentioned you can use your invention as a prop, and those different parts can be prompts for you as you're explaining it. And your display board can be that as well. Your display board can remind you of some of the things that you wanted to say too.
And then another good thing to do is at least try and practice once to make sure the timing, because you don't want to go over your maximum time. And try and speak slowly. Remember, you're speaking in front of the camera. So maybe speak a little bit more slowly than you think you need to, or a little more slowly than you would, because when we tend to get nervous, we also speed our words a little bit. And so take a deep breath, slow down, say every word clearly. Remember, it is coming through a video, so you want to make sure that the judges hear everything you have to say clearly, with not a lot of mumbling, or it's not so fast. So you may want to play your video back just to hear, because sometimes we go faster than we think we're going.
Right.
Try and make eye contact with the camera so that you're looking directly at the judges. You certainly can look away to share your display board, to show something on your design. But a lot of the time, most of the video should be you trying to look directly at the camera. So again, something you may want to practice with the person who may be taking your video, because they can see what the viewer would see from their perspective that you're not able to.
And here's a great tip that I have. I do this with my webcams too. I put a little smiley face next to the camera so that I remind myself to look into the eyes of the camera, like I'm looking into the eyes of a person.
That's great. And also that leads us to the last one, smile. I know that you're concentrating and you're thinking really hard, but smiling helps you take a deep breath. And a smile is contagious, so it's going to make the people watching you also smile. And it also reminds you that this is fun. You've done a wonderful job. You have some amazing ideas that we cannot wait to hear and showcase. And we're really proud of you. And so you should be proud of you too. So smile. This is really a celebration of who you are and what you're doing. And that's the most important thing. And be yourself. That's kind of all part of that too.
Right. We definitely want you to shine through. And remember that the judges aren't judging you on the quality of the video, lighting and sound and production. They want to hear your ideas, and they want to see you shine through.
Are there any more questions? And then I do want to just talk about the display board quickly. Because I don't think we've just mentioned that, but I do want to kind of talk a little bit about the display board. So again, we have the requirement of the display board because we want to simulate an in-person event, just as if you were in person standing in front of your display board. And I hope we'll be in person again next year. But so this is a great way to show off your display board, is by standing in front of it during your video. You can also take pictures of your display board and send them as part of the other materials that you submit when you upload to your own Google Drive folder. We are accepting digital versions of display boards, so slides through Flipgrid or PowerPoint. But again, if you're doing that, that's fine to submit that file in your Google Drive folder. But we're asking that your video be the video of you and not just your voice talking behind the slides.
Right. And if you upload slides or flipboards, please save them as PDFs, because not all of our judges will have access to all of the programs that you may have access to. And we may, actually last year we had a judge reaching us from Japan, a couple of people on other parts of the country. So they may not have access the way they normally do to the internet or different file systems. So we know that PDFs are easy for everybody to open.
Right. And again, all of the requirements for what needs to be in your display board and on your display are on our website, but just a couple of reminders. Again, the basics. The name of your invention, so you can see that here on the Aqua 8 is loud and clear what the name of the invention is. Then, of course, your name, your grade, your school, city, and state. And then other required pieces are somewhere on your board. You should have the statement of the problem, and then an explanation of how your invention is a solution to that problem, as well as details of how you put together your idea, whether it's in a drawing or you have the 3D model or diagram or prototype, and how you constructed it. Now, we understand that if you did make a prototype and you built it out of recycled materials and things that you had at home, but perhaps, you know, in real life, if the invention were to be made and sold somewhere and become a real product, you know, perhaps you would use some different materials. Like we've had a lot of inventions that have to do with vehicles. And so certainly a vehicle would be made of steel and aluminum and rubber and, you know, heavy duty materials. And maybe your prototype is made out of a cereal box and some jar lids for the wheels. That's okay. In your diagram, in your presentation, on your display board, you can point to those things and say, I used bottle caps for my wheels, but you know, if I could really make this, I would use tires or rubber or something else. So that is fine. And I do want to make sure that this is clear as well, that you do not have to have a prototype or a model, a 3D model of your design. It's highly encouraged, but a drawing that's well labeled and well drawn and sketched out is just fine. Also, if you do have a prototype or model, it does not have to be working. It does not have to move like a robot. But what you want to do again is indicate if you were to build it with the materials, the right materials, and not just recycled materials, what parts would move? How would they move? What materials would you use instead of your cardboard box and your bottle caps and your rubber bands? So that's all fine too. So again, a model is not required. A drawing or sketch that's well labeled is fine. And also, if you do have a model, it does not have to be working. We understand that. We just want to see your vision and your ideas for how you would make them come to life. So I think just some final reminders. All of your materials are due in your Google Drive folder, along with the online registration form by Sunday, April 4th. So that's this coming Sunday at 10 o'clock p.m. Okay, so just make sure that you're well aware of that deadline. If you run up into any difficulties, please let us know. We're here to help you. And we can work through it with you. So we do not want this to cause extra pressure or extra stress. Right. I also want to be mindful that this Sunday for some is a holiday, and we understand that and want to recognize that and honor that for those who celebrate the holiday. And so please let us know if that is a challenge for you. Also understand that on Sunday we will be around, and I will certainly be checking some things, but I also will be spending time with family too. So if you don't hear back right away, do not worry. We will make sure that it all happens. And if it doesn't happen by 10 p.m., we'll make sure that it's okay. Okay, but we would like you to try your best and do everything that you can to submit your materials by 10 o'clock on Sunday, April 4th.
Right. And if you're having technical issues, I will be checking email throughout Sunday as well, to help people. We picked 10 p.m. as the deadline because Tina and I both want to go to bed on Sunday night. And we will be packaging everything up for judges first thing in the morning on Monday.
Great. So like we said, your deadline is April 4th. Also understand that sometimes when a lot of people are trying to log into the system and doing things at the same time, sometimes there's slowdowns or glitches that happen. So you may want to kind of aim for Saturday, April 3rd, and try to make sure that you're submitting things as you go, that you're not waiting till the last minute if you can. Then we'll organize everything and package them for our judges, who will then be judging all of the inventions between April 8th and April 18th. And then again, they'll be submitting all of their information to us. And then we will have our big award ceremony and celebration on Sunday, May 2nd. And again, we'll be sending you more emails throughout the month of April with reminders, tips, updates, anything that we can do. And we'll also be making sure that you get an official invitation to the award ceremony with the links so that you can share them maybe with family members, grandparents, aunts and uncles, best friends who may also want to join us for that celebration event on May 2nd. So that information is coming. Just another thing to just kind of note is that once you submit all of your materials, if you don't hear back from us, everything's good. We have everything we need. If we get to your folder and something didn't work right, or we are having trouble opening your video or playing your video, or you're missing something, we will definitely contact you. We're really good about that. So if you don't hear from us, everything's okay. You don't need to contact us because it just takes us a long time to then kind of go back and double check. But we are really good about making sure that everybody has the opportunity and has all the right things. We want to make sure that you're successful.
Right. And that's why we have a couple of days between when you submit and when the judges start judging, so that we have to check everybody's folders.
Are there any questions that anybody has? You can either chat them to us or feel free to unmute yourself. Thanks again for joining us tonight as we went over all the details for the 2021 Northern New England Invention Convention. We're super excited that you'll be participating and can't wait to see your brilliant inventions. Again, if you have any questions at all throughout the process, please feel free to email us. Our contact information and emails are on the communications that we've sent to you. Have a great evening and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.